Hey guys, Hoodie Hooge back with another YouTube video, and today we got a different video. We got a 2020 NFL playoff prediction video. These have been going a lot around YouTube. I wanted to do my take on this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the NFL season this year, although my Niners aren't in the playoffs this year because all those injuries. But this is gonna be a lot of fun. Especially the AFC. I'm really excited for the AFC, not so much for the NFC, honestly, because I think whoever makes out of the AFC is winning the Super Bowl, no matter who gets out of the NFC. But yeah, so I'm just gonna say, first off, what I think wins playoffs games is being able to run the football and run defense. So, but you can't have only that. You have to have some sort of variability. You can't just be focused on that thing. You gotta be able to change it up once in a while. But the main thing is running the football and run defense. So that goes into our first game, Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. And I actually think the Browns have a really good chance to win this game. Overall, I like their roster a little better. I like their offense better because of the running game. I like the Steelers defense a lot more. And even though the Browns defense is far from shabby, it's a really solid unit. But I just like the Steelers in this game because I feel like they're gonna have that postseason urge. That defense is gonna come firing out the gate. They're gonna be ready, and I think they're gonna beat the Cleveland Browns in the first game. Second game, Indianapolis Colts versus the Buffalo Bills. All right, so if you're the Buffalo Bills, you're going hot in the playoff, right? You're feeling yourselves, man. You 13-3. You haven't lost since Kyler Murray Hail Mary play. And they're rolling right now. They destroyed the Dolphins last week in a must-win game for the Dolphins. Um, which they really didn't have to win because they would have gotten number two seed anyway since Steelers lost. But this is the one team you don't want to face. Indianapolis Colts. That's that one team that might be your kryptonite, and I think this is a potential upset. Now, I'm not gonna pick them because it's a little too bold for me. Because I just think that the Bills are gonna get their first playoff win. Philip Rivers, I don't know if he's gonna be able to play in the cold, but that defense they can make some game-changing plays. They can I'm sorry, not the Steelers. The Colts can also run the ball really well. That's gonna help them a lot. But the Bills' weakness is a team that can draw out the game, run the ball, and like keep Josh Allen on the sidelines. That's their weakness. They lost to the Chiefs that way. You don't expect the Chiefs to do that. They're a high-powered offense. They score quickly, and they just come at you. But they didn't do that versus the Bills. They ran the ball, kept Josh Allen off the sidelines, played good enough defense to win that game. Titans do the same thing. Derrick Henry wears you down. And then the Cardinals, that was just kind of a bullshit Hail Mary. They should have won that game. So I'm going to pick the Bills just because I feel that offense is lethal. I don't know if this really strong defense is going to be able to slow them down enough so that Philip Rivers can put points on the board on the other side of the football. I think the Colts are going to keep this one really close. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win, but I'm still going to pick the Bills here. All right, this is the best game of the weekend for me. Rematch of last year's AFC divisional round. The upset, the number one seeded Baltimore Ravens versus number 6 Tennessee Titans last year. I don't think a lot of people expected that to happen. Um, these are two similar teams, though. They both run the ball. That's their main thing. But the Ravens have a solid defense, and it's more of a it's like a 3-4. It's a little weak on the edges. It's like pass. Their corners are really good. Um, the Titans, their defense is soft as shit. Like that thing is gonna get ran over. But their offense, they have a really good throwing offense too this year with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. So there's also an element where it's Lamar Jackson. You lost this team twice. One in the playoffs where you were heavily favored, when are you going to beat this team? When are you going to get your first win in the playoffs? And I feel like a lot of people are thinking it's going to be now. But I don't think so. I think the Titans are Lamar Jackson's worst enemy. They're going to win this game. Ryan Derrick Henry, pause. I mean, holy shit, man. That dude's freaking going to carry them on his shoulders, bro. That dude is massive, man. I think the Titans are going to win this one. But this is going to be a really good game. So yeah. On to the NFC. We're going to start at the bottom here just because I want to say the Rams or Seahawks for last. And I think we all know who I'm going to pick in this first game. I think that this is just the most lopsided, or second most lopsided game. Because Tom Brady, it's playoff time. That's when he comes up clutch. That's his job. He comes up when it matters. You get discredited for Bill Belichick and his defenses over the years and how Aaron Rodgers might be better. But the reason I think he's the GOAT is that he makes those winning plays. Like, if he's in a position, you know he's going to make that play. You know he's going to win you the game. He's won 6 Super Bowls. So, I mean, he's still the GOAT. He's old, but he's still playing really well this year. That Washington defense, you don't call out the GOAT like that if you're Chase Young, first of all. I mean, you're a rookie. Your stats are really good, but they're not that good to the level where you can talk trash about the GOAT like that. You can call him out. Last time that happened, Jalen Ramsey, a much better player than Chase Young at this point in his career. They lost. So, I think the Bucs are just too good. Their wide receivers are too dynamic. Brady's going to get the ball out quick. D-line isn't going to have that much of an effect, and I think the Bucs take this one, and it's going to be pretty easy for me. Alright, Bears vs. Saints. I'm going to say it. This is probably the worst game of the week. The Bears have no business being here. They got in off a loss from the Cardinals. They really shouldn't be here. I'd be shocked if the Saints lose this game. Drew Brees is an expert at getting the ball out quick, and when you have a really good D-line like that, someone who gets the ball out really quick, throws checkdowns, short slants all the time, it's hard to beat that, especially when your offense is really not that good. David Montgomery is a really nice player. He's one of their only bright spots aside from Allen Robinson. But it's just, you're going up against a really tough defense too. The Saints are one of the best. They have one of the best rosters in the NFL. We're one of the most balanced, and I don't see any way the Bears win unless the Saints pull one of their traditional classic playoff chokes. Alright, this is gonna be okay. This is one of the games that if Goff plays, it's gonna be really, really good. But right now, it's not looking like he's gonna play. If he plays, though, I have a strong inclination to pick the Rams in this one. Because it's just a divisional game. Like, I know the Browns and Steelers was also a divisional game, but like this one, I'm a Niners fan, so I know all about the NFC West rivalries. And it's weird because these two teams, they always trade one win, and then the Rams, last time they met in the playoffs, they beat the Seahawks. That was when they were the favorites. But I just got this feeling that the Seahawks are just gonna choke, man. Like, they've been looking their offense has been looking terrible. It's probably gonna pick up as playoffs, Russell Wilson. But I feel like defense really steps up in the playoffs, and that Rams defense is one of the top units in the league. And Goff can game manage enough, run the play action enough. If Sean McVay draws a good enough play, like a plan, they could win the game. But right now it's looking like Goff isn't gonna play. So based on that, I'm gonna say that Seahawks defense goes crazy, and I think they're gonna win the game. Alright. AFC divisional round, we're going to start with the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, for this game, this is going to be a fun one just because the game's in Buffalo. Again, rematch of the SNF game. But it's going to be different, and here's why. The Buffalo Bills, their offense has been smoking everybody, right? But I feel like this game, both teams are really weak at the run game. I feel like I just have a feeling that whoever runs the ball better and who can create more offense for their passing offense by opening up the field and making it so the defense can't stack the box and all that stuff is gonna win the game. And I feel like Buffalo's defense is also gonna step up in a huge way, like they did in week whatever week that was on Sunday Night Football. I think the Buffalo Bills are gonna win this one. Alright. Titans versus Chiefs. Rematch of the AFC Championship game. So the Titans, if they win the first matchup, they get their divisional and championship round, but a round earlier. And that's tough. Well, based on if everything else goes as I've drawn it out. That's tough though. Because you don't want to play the Chiefs. The thing about Titans is they kind of, if you think about it, there's really no way that they can beat the Chiefs unless Ryan Tannehill takes over and outduels Patrick Mahomes. Because that run game, if you grind the ball out, actually, never mind. What they can do is they can run the ball. They can keep Mahomes on the sideline. They get a couple stops. You have to put him in the checkmate in the exact right spot, because if you leave too much time on the clock, so say you got a 17-point lead, you've been running the ball out, and there's like very little time left, you got a couple spots, and you end up with 17-point lead, it's as quick as bam, 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 Chiefs are back up. Like, it's so hard to beat that team, and I just feel like they're not a very good matchup. Like, we saw what happened last year. The Titans were up, I think, 17 points at halftime, and they got blown out. Well, not blown out, but they lost by more than 10 points, or 10 points, something like that. So I just think this is not a good matchup, and I think the Chiefs, a lot of people are starting to jump off the bandwagon. They're starting to believe that the Bills are the favorite in the AFC, which I don't agree with. We'll talk about that next game. Alright, NFC. Let's start with the Seahawks game. I think this is going to be a really good game. And this is a hard one to call, too, if this happens. Because the Seahawks, they've been so unpredictable lately. I mean, no one expected that their defense would come and start to win games, especially after they had, like, one of the worst passing offense we've ever seen. To start the year, it's gotten a lot better. Well, it's still one of the worst passing defenses, but they rush the passer pretty well now with Carlos Dunlap and Jamal Adams. So they've been a completely different team, and it's been super hard to predict what they would do. So I don't know. And then there's the Saints, where you feel like they're more talented, they have a better roster, they're pretty equal coaches in my opinion. But it's the Saints, man. Like, everyone picked them last year to beat the 49ers or lose to them in the NFC Championship game. But dude, they lost to the Vikings in the wild card round. Like, and then the year before that, they should have lost. Well, no, that was the year they got screwed over by the refs. But then the year before that, they should have lost to the Eagles. Like, they didn't really beat them. I mean, they got lucky. So, I don't know what's happening, playoff Drew Brees. Here's one thing, though. His injury that he had against the 49ers, that might have helped him a lot, because over the past few games that I've been watching him, he's been throwing the ball down the field a lot more. And he's going to have his number one number 1 target, Michael Thomas, back, and we're gonna see what he's gonna do in the playoffs if people still consider him a top 5 receiver or not. And based on that, I feel like I like Russell Wilson in this game, but I feel like Saints' last run with Drew Brees, I think they're gonna at least get to the NFC Championship this year, so I'm gonna pick the Saints. All right, and then this last game, a lot of people are picking the Packers to win the Super Bowl, and I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're probably, besides the Bills, they're getting a little hyped up too much. Aaron Rodgers is great. Um, Jair Alexander is great. The Smith brothers are great. Aaron Jones is great, but also their offensive line is great with 2 tackles. But it's just the run game is gonna be the key for them. If they can't get Aaron Jones going, I don't think they're gonna go far in the playoffs. They've been relying on Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers a lot, and I feel like these teams now are gonna be more focused on limiting that and taking that away, and they're gonna be ready for it. And then the Bucs side, Tom Brady, Lambeau Field. I wouldn't be too worried about that. Tom Brady in the Colts, I mean, he's been doing it his whole career. The rest of the Bucs, they might have a little bit of an issue, but he's got weapons. He's got 2 of them, and if Mike Evans plays, like Jair Alexander can only guard 1. There's gonna be 2 other receivers who are gonna be really, like, they're gonna be getting a lot of space. And the first time they played, the Bucs smacked the Packers, right? It was Rojo that game. It wasn't even the receivers. Because back then it was like, I think that was right before they got AB, and they didn't really have like that cohesiveness with Tom Brady yet. So now they're more cohesive. Now they have more chemistry. Now I feel like they are getting connected. They're on a roll, and I think they're gonna beat the Packers. Packers aren't gonna win a playoff game this year, if my prediction is correct. So I'm picking the Bucs here. We're gonna have an NFC South NFC Championship game. Alright, AFC Championship. Okay, see, I see this matchup a lot. It's one of the most favorited matchups, 1 versus 2 seed. You expect this to happen. And a lot of people are picking the Bills. And honestly, they're getting too scared of the regular season. We kind of saw this with the NBA. What happened was the Lakers, they slowed down a bit at the end. They looked a little, at the beginning of the bubble, it looked a little lethargic, and then people were kind of jumping on the bandwagon. People were saying the Blazers would win, and that didn't turn out to be the case. They went ahead and just blew through the whole entire NBA playoffs. So I wouldn't be too worried. It's pretty similar, extremely stacked roster. One of the best players in the best player in the NFL on your team. I wouldn't be like as worried as some people are getting and picking the Bills over them. I'm still gonna go with the Chiefs. I feel like Andy Reid is experienced, gonna find a way to beat the Bills. They did it before. I think they're gonna do it again. I mean, it's just Chiefs, man. Like, they're just so talented. They're so good. I hope they get nerfed. I mean, they probably will, because if you pay a guy $500 million, you're not gonna be able to do that forever. So yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs again to win this one. Alright, Saints versus Bucks. Can Drew Brees actually get to the Super Bowl again? My answer is no. I think the Bucks are gonna win this game. Here's why. I feel like the first 2 times the Bucks played the Saints, right? They lost both of them. One, they got blown out. The other one, it was kind of a weird game. It was week 1, so you can't really tell anything off week 1 because the Jaguars beat the Colts in week 1. So, like, it's weird. I think that was one of the first games with AB. Um, and the Bucks are a different team now. They've been gaining chemistry, as I've said before. I feel like Tommy Playoff, man. I'm gonna name him that. Tom Brady in the playoffs. I feel like he's gonna win. I mean, like, you look at the playoffs, I don't really see any team in the NFC I like that much. Besides maybe the Packers. I think the Packers are the second best team. I think the Packers are the best team. I just think that the Bucks are gonna beat the Packers because it's a bad matchup for them. But yeah, I mean, I don't really like the Saints that much. They always get screwed over somehow. I feel like it's gonna happen again. So I'm picking the Bucks. One more thing about the Saints is that their defense is really good. But they have Marshawn Lattimore, and then they have Marcus Williams at safety, right? I don't think there's too many weapons. Like, if Tom Brady plays good enough, they're gonna be throwing the ball, they're gonna be moving the ball, and then Drew Brees, right? Those linebackers for Tampa Bay, they're really good. Drew Brees is gonna have to throw the ball a little far. He's not gonna be able to throw the short ones. So he's gonna have to be able to air it out, and I don't know if they can do that enough that they can beat the Bucks with Tom Brady on the other side. So yeah, and then Chiefs vs Bucks. Bucks being the first ever team to host a playoff game if this starts. Not a playoff game, sorry, a host Super Bowl if this starts, if this happens. But I don't think they're gonna win. I mean, I hate to be boring and pick the Chiefs, but I'm picking the Chiefs, man. They're just too good. Like, Patrick Mahomes, he's young, he's really, really talented. He deserves every penny he got from that big ass deal he got. I think they're gonna win. It's just, you can't really compete with that offense, man. They put up like 21 points in 3 minutes. It's insane. And their defense, they're opportunistic. When they get an opportunity, when things start to get tough, they get that 3 and out. They win. They make winning plays. It's good enough. And when your defense is good enough, but you have that good of an offense, it's really hard to beat. So I feel like the Saints, they're going to repeat as Super Bowl champions. I hate to be boring, but that's just my prediction. So, yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. It was my prediction. I doubt it's going to happen. These playoffs, they're so weird. They're so hard to predict. I mean, especially last year. No one expected the Titans, huh? So, yeah, that's my playoff prediction. Comment down below what you would change. And that's going to be it for me. Hoodie Hooge, out.